Hello, it's John Heaton, and we're still in New York City, so we're going to do another topical album review. And so we had to find another album recorded in New York City, so we're going to do this one from Yoko Ono, Season of Glass, released in June of '81, 6 months after John's passing. And she's using more or less the same band as had been on John and Yoko's Double Fantasy, so very much a continuation of that album. And in fact, a couple of the tracks, or at least one of the tracks, I think two, had been written and even tried out in the Double Fantasy sessions. So a lot of sympathy amongst Lennon fans for Yoko after John's death, and any misgivings we had about Yoko were forgotten, at least for the first period after John's death, as we just felt huge sadness for her and for Sean to be left in such a tragic fashion. And so expectations were high, and I remember when buying this album when it first came out in June of '81. I think that's the view from their flat on the 7th floor of the Dakota of Central Park. And obviously on the cover, the controversial cover of John's bloodstained spectacles from the night of the murder, which a lot of people said was in bad taste, but she was just telling it how it was, really, and I admired her honesty. I think it's a very moving, gripping cover. And more importantly, I think the music inside this album is amongst the finest of her career. So as I said, here are the lyrics, similar inner sleeve to Double Fantasy, similar typeface and everything. The only difference is, I mean, you've got the musicians the same: Tony Levine, Andy Newmark, George Small, Earl Slick, Anthony Davilo, but the production, Jack Douglas is not involved on this album. And Phil Spector was brought in and was involved for a while, but then Yoko and Phil had a disagreement and he left the proceedings. So I forget what the end album said, but I think Phil producers Yoko Ono and Phil Spector. But I think I can't really hear Phil Spector's involvement on these tracks. Yoko does a pretty fine job, and her later solo albums lacked the musicianship of this band, because this band was top notch and it had been on Double Fantasy, and Yoko's tracks on Double Fantasy were amongst the strongest of her career, with I'm Moving On and Kiss 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 and Give Me Something, to name but three. And on this album, I mean, it opens with Goodbye Sadness, which is a tragically sad song, but she's trying to find some light at the end of the tunnel, and she's trying to get on with her life and try to get over the sorrow. So she's mourning, but she's saying maybe it's time to have a little hello happiness. And a very moving track, great sax playing as well. Next track is Mindweaver, which is about Yoko's relationship with someone on the telephone. I don't know if it was Elliot Mintz, or I'm not sure who it was, but it's an interesting song, but not one of the strongest. This next two, I think, were written during John's lifetime. Even When You're Far Away is a great Yoko song, and she's not that known for her melodies, but her melody on this song is great. And Nobody Sees Me Like You Do is probably in my top 5 Yoko songs of her entire career. I think it's brilliant. Turn of the Wheel is a kind of catchy number, quite commercial, nothing too special. And then we get Dogtown, which is a brilliant track. I love it. It had previously been recorded in 1974 and later turned up on the Yoko album A Story, which was supposed to have been released in that year, which never saw the light of day. So it was re-recorded for this album, and I'm glad it was, because it's really I think Sean Lennon did a version of this song on a recent Yoko compilation, but didn't do it justice because Yoko's version is brilliant. And then side one closes with Silver Horse, which was recorded in the Double Fantasy sessions and has a brilliant melody, very haunting words, and a brilliant guitar solo from Earl Slick. I don't know what to say, I'm speechless every time I listen to it, it's brilliant. So that closes side one. This is Yoko Ono's best solo album. I'm saying that straight off the bat. I really think it's stronger than the early 70s stuff she was coming out with, and obviously I can't compare it to Double Fantasy because John was half of that, but as a sequence of Yoko songs, I don't think she's bettered this in her entire career. Side two opens with I Don't Know Why. By the way, we're sitting in our apartment, which we rented in New York City, in Midtown, and about 21 blocks that way is the Dakota building where John lived for the last 7 years of his life, and about 8 blocks that way and 1 block to the west is Roosevelt Hospital, where John was taken when he was shot. He was dead on arrival, as we know, so we're pretty close to where it all happened and where it all went wrong. So side two opens with I Don't Know Why, which is a song dealing with the murder. I don't know why was getting so good with us. Heartbreaking song. And Yoko performed a demo of this song on the night of John's murder. Just sang it into a tape recorder when all the fans were outside in West 72nd Street singing Beatles songs and keeping her away. Extension 33 is an okay song, nothing too special, but quite interesting, nothing wrong with it. And then No 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 is a kind of strange song which opens quite disturbingly with 4 gunshots. So Yoko's not pulling any punches on this album. And quite aggressive guitar and quite sexually aggressive lyrics. It's not my favourite, but it's interesting. Will You Touch Me is, I think, an earlier song of Yoko's, which is dates from the mid-70s, which she redid for this album. It's very catchy, nothing wrong with it. She Gets Down on Her Knees is, again, some quite strange, aggressive lyrics and quite disturbing, not the easiest song to listen to. Toy Boat is a very relaxing song with a good melody, and then the album finishes with Mother of the Universe, because Yoko always liked to think of the God figure as being a female, so that's a good way to close the album. Nice musicianship. So I loved this album when it came out, and I still play it. It's not the easiest of listens, but the melodies shine through, and the musicianship from the Double Fantasy band is top rate. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.